Hey everybody, this is the epistemologers here, and we're going to talk about the misconception of elitism. That's our topic for the day, and it's something funny that happened to Aza with X-Files. So, you've been watching X-Files
X-Files.
recently, and
Well, I was watching the X-Files the latest season, and there was an episode where I don't want to actually spoil it for anyone interested in watching, so I'm going to avoid spoilers. But
some mob
the
some mob justice happened, some elitist
yeah,
things happened, and it got us talking about the um the idea that the elite are better than everyone else. And
well,
and that's how that's wrong. Why is that wrong? Um like, for instance, the idea that somehow billionaires are smarter than us, or one of my favorites is Google is an inherently like a company with the best programmers, so because it has the best programmers, it outshines any other programmers, and that they have, no problems and everything runs smoothly because they're so good, because they're Google and they only hire PhDs, right? Which I have worked, not for Google, but I've worked with Google, with YouTube's data, and it is a mess. The financial records are absolutely terrible. Like, if a smaller company did that, they would be out of business level of bad. And it is not, they have some nice features like estimated earnings and stuff like that, but the data itself is bad. And so I would say that is a good point. It's something I often think about, that even the YouTube engineers, the people who are supposed to be the top tier, best of the best, they still have shitty code that and data that is bad.
um, elitism is alive and well. A, I think it's pretty safe to say that nearly every case um, of an elite person trying to build the case that they are elite, they're going to pull out questionable metrics. They'll say, they're smarter, they
Oh yeah, they have.
stronger, something.
Well, and to talk about IQ tests, IQ test is often pointed to as a definitive proof that somebody is smarter than another person, and that's just IQ tests. They're good at taking IQ tests. That's all that you've proven, is that they're measurably better in that one instance of time of taking an IQ test. And this is shown, like, you don't even have to go outside of IQ tests to find that there's problems with it, because you don't stay at the same IQ throughout the entirety of your life. If you take an IQ test and then 10 years later you take another one, you will have a different IQ.
Yeah, IQ is a good example of elitism because there are a ton of academic elite who think that being highly educated is a sign of being superior.
Yeah.
But this is this is a this is more political than it has to do. What I mean is, it has more to do with the dynamic between them and the lesser folk
Yeah.
than
So,
it has to do with describing the way things are.
like talking about how, like QAnon stuff, are you saying? Or looking at various aspects of what's going on? Is that what you're talking about?
Uh, I don't know if I can bring it back to QAnon directly, but um, the you can bring it back to like the Middle Ages when the peasants were a separate class. I mean, they exist today, but we'll just say
Yeah.
the peasants are a separate class, and they're really held there because they've
They believe that
been
the story.
convinced.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been convinced at their own inferiority. The elites are also deluding themselves that of that superior inferior dichotomy. If they were ever convinced that that particular metric of being superior is wrong, they'd find another one. It's more political than it is actual.
The wealthy and the privileged want to justify why they are wealthy and privileged, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a form of justifying their rank.
Right. Well, and that's been something that has been plaguing the privileged and the wealthy for quite some time.
Yeah.
How do you justify to other people that you deserve more?
Yeah, we do speak out a lot about justification as a strategy in building knowledge as being bad.
Yeah.
But in this case, what happens when the peasants are given a bad philosophy? If they end up finding a bad philosophy compelling,
Yeah.
they end up looking really stupid. They look a lot dumber than they would if they had a good philosophy.
If they weren't armed with a good philosophy.
Yeah, that's a key observation to make, because if they break out of that bad philosophy and they learn a good one, it makes them look so much smarter. And at what point do they can you say that they are smarter? Like what's the measurement that you're using to say they're smarter versus, that smarter than they used to be? And really the difference is their worldview is different. They just have a different philosophy.
They have a different understanding of what's going on.
The same mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in reality, all these people are just as smart as anybody else. And any feature that describes one person as being inferior to another person is a delusion. It doesn't describe what's actually happening. And if you dive into each case, there's always some misconception being thrown around, and it's almost always political.
It's almost always to stay. It's political in the sense that you want to stay where you are. You want to prove that you are superior in some way, right?
Yeah. Right. Really, what we should be doing is dropping that political stuff and sharing what we know to be the way things are. Try to get people to understand what we understand, at least temporarily. So they have an option to choose how they want to see things. That it's really the only way to break them out of a mental prison is to bring that horse to water, basically.
Yeah,
and
hope that it drinks.
Well, if it's up to it to drink, but if you brought it to water, you just met your goal.
Right.
So, and that's really what the search for good explanation does, or better explanation does, is it gives you a chance to explain in such a way that brings the horse to water, to bring people to whatever truth you're trying to explain, and to impart the understanding of that. There's a reason why we keep saying we search for better explanation is a form that's easily shareable. An explanation is something you can share with others. because the whole collective of people sharing that explanation only benefit the knowledge building process.
All right.
So you don't get that with any sort of sense that someone is superior to another person.
Right.
For any reason.
So the only way to promote a good explanation is to not come at it from an elitist standpoint. To assume that that people are stupid because they don't understand, or they will never understand because they don't understand from your explanation, is not a good way of looking at things.
Yeah. Everyone is on a different stage in the knowledge building path.
Yeah.
And, children are at one stage, and adults are at another, and different adults are at different stages, and rarely is it actually linear in the same fashion, so that one person is really knowledgeable in one area and another person's really knowledgeable in another area, and these things can reconcile. You can stitch the strengths of different views together into a cohesive view, but only if you learn what other people have to say on the topic. So, and a lot of it is if you're not taking other people seriously, like if you're not taking a child seriously, if you're not taking everyone seriously, you don't get that chance. They're also not. They're also going to sense the disrespect, and they might not even listen to you, even if you thought you had something to say. So, it's basically just take people seriously. Give everyone a basic level of respect.
Yeah.
Just common courtesy.
Yeah.
And don't immediately dismiss what anyone has to say.
There's a reason why common courtesy is a rule of thumb, because people have anyone may have a brilliant idea or a way of looking at things that you have never seen before, that then allows you to better interpret what's happening for various scenarios or problems.
Yep. Well, I think that's about it for what I wanted to say.
Oh, great. So I guess leave your comments in the thing below, in the comments section. We do not moderate, or we just let everyone go through, pretty much. And yeah, give us your thoughts. Give us topics that you like, questions that you have. Away we go.